Greetings and welcome. I am your humble host, David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and it's really loving this thing. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator, and I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. And this is my new helmet cam thing. This is my new mask upgrade. I figure with all the stuff that's going on out there right now that maybe a little impracticality is what we need. And, there are those enemies of the mask. And let me just say that the particles on the mask, the mesh, and the size of the virus are much different. However, the claims are that the virus is stuck to sputum, in other words, phlegm or something else. And so but must have an N95 mask. So if you're just using a tablecloth or something like that, or, a bandana, it's better than you saw me earlier. Gotta find humor in everything. You know what I mean there, Maverick? But the idea, though, I'm not saying I've never told anybody don't wear a mask. Hello, Elsie, darling. See, I'm up. Yeah, I was up. I had a little bit of crying time. It just hit me. Boy, did it hit me. But anyway, in some of this nonsense, I'm having people that are, they're talking about, how do I have that thing? I've had this for years. It's a for real one too. Golly. Sorry, I got my shirt off. I just was feeling goofy. And this is a real copper. It's got brass handles on it. The glass has been missing for quite some time. And the rest of it's over here. It's heavier than hell. And this is where the air hose connected. And I'm not sure what this one is, but this has been empty. It's been dented a few times and been around. This is solid copper. I don't know how in the dickens they formed this thing, but it's one solid piece of copper. There's no seams in it at all, as far as the top of this thing is concerned. And I'm sure it leaked like a sieve at one time. But anyway, crying purifies. Yes, it does. And it just caught me off guard is all. But I literally wanted to share more of the fact that you folks are the greatest, and that, I'll remember you. I think that's an important thing we need to discuss, especially with so many of our friends and neighbors and relatives. I don't know if it was poured, Maverick. Copper is not something that you necessarily pour. It's got some stamping marks on it and some machine marks. This edge around here has been curled. I'm just saying, it's just it's really interesting. The rest of it sits up on your shoulders like this. But anyway, I'm just trying to be goofy. And, there are some people that think that this is what we should go to, and I'm like, okay, let's put the glass in and let's put our mask on and let's do what needs to be necessary. And yes, this is definitely an antique. I've had it for over 20 years. So doesn't 20 years make it? I can barely get my big fat head back out of the thing. But, and it does. It weighs a ton. Solid copper. I could have sold it for copper, Goofy is good. I'm going to take your shirt off. Hey, it's too dang hot. It's summertime. You know what I mean? Hey, David Castle. You have a Spartan helmet. Yep. I was thinking, there's so many people that are just freaking out about this mask thing. And I just started this to be funny. Okay. But at the same point, my update, I did some more research and I was like, okay, I know the particle size and this and that. Why are they saying this? Well, here's the deal. The masks that most people are wearing are not an N95, okay, or whatever the stipulation is. And here's the thing. If you do have something, they're saying that the virus attaches to the water molecules or sputum or something like that because that's how it travels. Well, if you're going to breathe it in and you're going to get it on your mask, if you don't dispose of it or wash your hands, you're actually setting up a potential biohazard, because if it does get stuck in your mask and there is a virus, and then you don't deal with your mask and your hands and so forth properly, then that mask essentially isn't doing you any good. So I'm not against wearing a mask where it's necessary. If there's a lot of people and stuff like that, I'm not poo-pooing the use of a mask. I'm poo-pooing people wearing them out in the middle of a national park. You know, there are people that are biking and they're wearing a mask in the middle of the desert. That's the absurdity of this. So with the absurdness, I thought, we should all start wearing these things. Let's go to a full head helmet. Let's go with a real mask. If you people are that deadgum worried that it's just floating out there in the air and you can't walk outside without having a mask on, oh Lordy, I feel bad for you. I really, really, really do. And if it's just out there flying around, then we don't need a little mask. We need something like this to protect us, that I can come home and hose down, with some steam and clean it, and I can be protected from outside stuff. It's hard, it's heavy, yeah, come get me in here, you virus, or bacteria, whatever. But I'm being absolutely insane and silly about this, but yes, I'm for wearing them where it's necessary. I'm not for wearing them, everybody doing this stuff and wandering around. I'm against that. So, of course, if I was to go around somebody sick, I wouldn't want to pick up their germs, nor would I want to give them mine. But the rest of this idea that it should be mandatory that people wear them all the time, everywhere, no, please. So I'm trying to make myself perfectly clear. If you're so dadgum scared, get yourself one of these and put some glass in it and protect yourself. They're heavy, but wearing one of these things around for a few hours, it beat the hell out of going to a gym. And copper, woo! You wouldn't have to worry about, copper in the front of this is brass. And I've got the other two of these that go on either side, but I don't have the glass that goes in them. I've been thinking about putting the glass in and making them look at least plexiglass, but anyway, it's hard to clean and the scratches, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I just wanted to, and since many of you are here just on a whim, hi, Elise, Robert V, Maverick, Udelis, wow. To be honest, I wear a Russian gas mask. That's okay. If I had one, I'd wear one. This is as close as I could get to my being goofy. If I had one of those other gas masks, I would have put it on just for the fun of it. I was thinking with Halloween coming up, we should just put filters and wear our Halloween masks. So, if I walked around like this, well, isn't this a mask? It's green looking through the eyeballs. But if I walked in a store wearing one of these, would anybody bitch at me because I wasn't protected? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm all for being practical. But some of this stuff and some of these reactions, I posted something on Facebook and I realized that if I tried to explain myself, this person was just going to go off the wall. So my comment was stay safe. When instead of trying to explain the fact that people aren't using the same kind of mask and all this other stuff. And I guess that in looking at comments and seeing all this stuff, there is just so much about this mask stuff. And oh my God, are we wasting time with this or what? You know what I mean? So just being silly, just thought I'd get on here for a few minutes and just say, let's be practical about this is all I'm saying. you know. And if people who are wearing these dust masks, like for working um, in a shop or a wood shop or something like that, oh, honey, that ain't even close. And if you think you are protected with one of those, then you need to do more research. So, and if you do have it and and it sticks to your sputum and you cough inside your mask, then you've got this biohazard mess that you must deal with. So my concern is that people aren't dealing with the mask properly. There is overemphasis to wear them all the time, but I am for using them when it's necessary and obvious. Okay, so these people, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I think I do. I've done some more research to make sure, and it's still because most of the people who are using masks and things do not have the N95 thingy with the close. And it is true that if it's just the virus, ain't gonna stop it because it's like a zero point 0.3 micron. And a zero point 0.3 micron, do you understand how hard it is to breathe through them things? You know, so you're like, you're laboring your lungs and your heart and your whole system. So if you got it, okay. But if you don't got it, don't. Be smart about this because otherwise your lungs, your heart, and your whole system's going to change. Anyway, enough of that. Just wanted to be a little humorous and say, you know, let's all be prepared for the next onslaught of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure that we stay dadgum protected. So I'm already on the way. If I have to, there's an air hole up. You know, we all have air holes. We all have a-holes, right? Some of us are just a-holes anyway. But the idea, though, is to, come on, let's have a little bit of laugh about this. And for those of us who have had science and biology and have worked with healthcare workers, and there are arguments within the healthcare thing. I got one doctor in Thomasville Cairo that I've worked with before. Great man, and he's like, you know, people are just just saying that masks aren't any good and the virus is nothing like that. I ain't saying that. And my doctor is saying that, hey, listen, you know, this is a nasty virus, but there have ways of treating it, and it's not necessarily a vaccine, but if you get it, and that one of the things that the one doctor in Thomasville is more of a surgeon. My other one is GP, MD. And so she sees a whole lot more patients than the other person does. Doesn't mean that, you know, as a doctor, he doesn't understand and all that kind of thing. But if you're dealing literally up to your elbows in sick patients with the disease, you got a little bit more going on than operating on somebody in a hospital and seeing the virus, not necessarily secondhand, but they're not your patients. You know what I mean? You're a surgeon. So doesn't mean that you're stupid, you don't understand, but anyway, so with all of this stuff, just remember, be practical, use your head. And if you find yourself trying to go overboard with this, and the other side of this is like being in total denial. If there's a few people in the store and nobody's coughing and hacking and whatever, and if I don't wear my little bandana thing, okay. But at the same point, I'm not going to get on somebody else and say, you're an idiot for wearing a mask. Or, you know, you're outside. And I have told some people, you're outside. Why are you wearing the mask? Well, because inside, not outside. Just saying, you know. Well, it could be in the parking lot. Yeah, and there's fertilizer and dust from crops around here. We could die from the poisons and the Roundup that gets sent up in the air. I went outside last night after I did that live feed, and I realized, I took a deep breath, and it was like, oh my God, I could smell the fertilizer in the air, or the bug killer, whatever it is they've been using around here. They grow a lot of peanuts and cotton, not so much corn anymore around here. Not so much soybean either. Kind of interesting. But so, I'm more afraid of the agricultural compounds that are in the air all the time, and I can wear a mask and still can smell them. So the idea that, the mask is going to do me any good, I gave that up a long time ago. But anyway, let's be practical. Let's be safe. And for gosh sakes, let's, quit pointing the finger at one person or another and starting arguments. If that's the way you want to be, okay, fine. But I already noticed that just trying to be practical about this, but you must wear a mask everywhere you go. No, if you go into a building. No, 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 no. You must wear a mask everywhere. I'm not going to be able to reach those folks. And neither are you. Because they've already got it in their heads that I've got to have it all the time or I'm going to die. Oh, okay. They are that fearful that, if I'm going to town, going to the store, I got it. And I will agree to that. I'm okay with that. But when I come out of the store, but these other folks who come out of the store, get in their car, drive home with it on, come out of their car, get in their house, and still wear it, that's wrong. So let's try to be smart about this. My friends, I love you. Thank you for this afternoon. I just jumped on here like I kind of sort of did now, trying to clean things up and be positive. I'm going to bring down the hawk. I was upstairs trying to get to it. And I'm going to bring the hawk down and put it down here where it can be seen a little bit more. But in light of my night eye stations, Ed, in light of my friend who has passed recently, Maverick says they eat fruits and vegetables, gave up pasta and tomatoes and gluten, and I feel a whole lot better for it. I miss my glutens. I made some pasta with tomatoes the other night, and I was in heaven. But anyway, Barry says my mask is great to protect my bald spot from the sun, sunbonnet style. There you go. David Castle says vitamin D, vitamin B12. My nursing school teacher always told me vitamins were a scam. She was a 78-year-old chain smoking teacher. Yep. Bring down the hawk. Yes, I will. Not right now. It's stuck up there, and I got to bring it down, and I have to have a place to put it. It's got a large base, but yes, I will. Maverick says I still eat chicken and fish, some burger, not as much food as the way to heal yourself is through food. I agree with that, Maverick. I stopped eating a lot of different types of processed food, and I cut down on my meat big time. I went to the store the other day and bought some meat, but it was mostly for the dog. But it was good too, for me too. But we all need a little protein once in a while. And if you saw how soybeans were manufactured, the things they spray on them and what they do to them, and you try to tell me that soybean is a better source for protein or whatever than just a good old piece of honest to God, grass-fed beef. I'm not into chicken anymore because they raise them around here. And if you saw how they raised them, you wouldn't eat chicken anymore either. Hogs different, cows different. What they're doing to chickens right now, I wouldn't eat one of them things. And I love fried chicken, but man, oh man, there are millions of birds in Colquitt County and Thomas County, millions of birds. There's one down the road about 2.5 miles, and they just added another 3 huge, I mean huge chicken barns. And so they're not going out of business. Every one of the farmers around here that had 8 to 10 chicken houses, thousands in each one, and they go through them every 3 months, man. They just literally wipe them out, clean them out, scrub them out, and put brand new chicks in. But if you saw what they look like, you'd go, that's not a chicken. Now eggs, oh yeah. Now I got one chicken left still. She's made it through a whole season by herself, God bless her. And I got 3 eggs. I hadn't been out there in a day or so, I guess, and went out to feed her and check up, and it was like, wow, I got 3 eggs from a chicken that should have been dead a year ago. But so anyway, protein from different areas, but people who swear by soybean or this and that, I'm having lived in the farming community. I don't trust soybeans like other people do. I'll eat them and the product and whatever, but this thing that, well, I'm going to eat it all the time. If you know how much Roundup they put in the ground so the any type of grain that is harvested, when they harvest the grain, any trash that gets in will bring the price per ton of their product down. So if they've got soybean that's really nice and clean and very little bit of litter in there, they get a better price for the soybeans because of the litter. Not that the soybeans are bad, right? So farmers want to keep as much trash out of their grain, whether it's corn or soybean or whatever, right? So and cotton the same way. So you want to go through the fields, but if there are cockleburs and things that grow up and anything else that gets stuck in the combine, it ends up in with the beans and the this and the that. So, but my point to this is, it's all this clean stuff and soybeans like the greatest answer. And if you only knew how much stuff they sprayed on a field of soybeans versus what's in a cow, I'm just saying, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to go finish up what I was doing. Thank you all for this afternoon. Thank you all for now. And for those of you, many of you, I got back on Facebook and I added you as friends. And so thank you all for hanging out. And let's continue to share. I'm serious about thanking you folk. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. And I'm just going to get sillier, I guess, and whatever. So my point is about the cockleburs, cockadoodle-doo. Hey, Elsie. I like growing broccoli. Yeah, in the winter down here, those kinds of things grow really well. In fact, Colquitt County is like, it's amazing how many tons of cabbage they grow down here. I mean, seriously, I was like, what? They're one of the largest producers of cabbage during wintertime in the world. I mean, it's amazing how many tons. And I've seen little old when they pile them up on these long trailers that they pull behind a truck or a tractor, and they'll be piled up, and if they go around the corner too fast, one will roll off. I've seen little old ladies with Cadillacs and diamond rings stop in the middle of the road to pick up a roadkill of cabbage, if you will. Not too long ago, there was a whole tractor trailer load that had leaned over, and there were literally boxes of cabbage and things still in the box. Some of it, had a little bit of asphalt on it, but and people were giving it out and standing on the side of the road because they couldn't load it back up. The whole rig was gone. And so it was free food to whoever wanted to stop and pick up cases. We had cases of vegetables picked up from the side of the road. But anyway, there are the things that they spray on cabbage, wash it off good and peel out the last couple of things. But if people think that because it was grown, it's so much more healthy. If you knew what they had to do to it to keep it nice and pretty and clean and all that so you could eat it, you'd go, I don't know if I want to eat that or not. The sprays, the this and the that and the Roundup in the dirt but it's okay. For example, there's a field down the road from me. They have grown cotton in this field for I don't know how long, and they used a defoliant in it on those fields for I don't know how long. This year, there's peanuts in it. Now, they use different kinds of things when they grow cotton versus peanuts. But my point is that they've never let that field go fallow for a year or so. They've always planted something in it. And the cotton's never done much good, so they planted peanuts this year. And I'm talking about, 50 acres worth of peanuts. But with those peanuts growing, they're peanuts, they're going in the ground. Yeah, but what was in that ground? All those 8 to 10 years of cotton defoliant sprayed on the cotton, and then the cotton gets turned into the soil, and peanuts grow in the ground. They don't grow above the ground. The plant does, but the peanuts are in the ground. So what are these peanuts picking up? So are peanuts really safe? Besides the having a peanut allergy, but I look at some of this stuff and I go, I trust it, but should we? Are we getting things? Are we getting the product we think we're getting? Is anybody really looking down deep inside them peanuts and going, wow, there's something different about these peanuts? Because they was growed in a field that had cotton in it for 10 years and it never went fallow, and they always, I'm just saying. So people who think they've got stuff, just drive around and be a part of the agricultural community a little bit and pay attention to what's going on. I do. And I wonder if them peanuts are going to be any good. You can't grow the same crop in the same field year after year. And some of these idiots try to do it. And, they didn't learn about, rotation. Oh my God. How many years ago has that been? But so the peanuts aren't as good. The cotton's not as good because of the soil deficiencies, because they don't treat the land the way they're supposed to know. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse. Y'all be good. Y'all be careful. David Castle, yes, I bet living in the area would help with lack of pollution. Women in my father's family, out of 4, 3 live to be in their 90s. One is 101 now. Yeah, organic food isn't pretty and perfect like the store has. Now, there are people growing organic food. Don't get me wrong, but the bulk of the tons of soybean and stuff, they're grown just by regular farmers who have been using these practices for, Elise, Elsie, it's time for some boiled peanuts. I can't wait. Oh man, boiled peanuts. Yours too, David, and they were mean as snake. Potatoes, same deal. Yep, same deal. Just understand that too much of anything, too much peanut butter, too much this, too much that, too much soybean. But folks think that vegetables are the only way. And I'm just saying, if you knew how some of these vegetables were grown and what they did to them before they got to it, even to the process plant, then there's the process. But that you would reconsider, quote, its healthiness versus, I know it's an animal, but here's the deal. Leather shoes, leather belts, leather goods, where does it come from? Cows. So the leather industry and those types of things would be taking cows whether we ate the meat or not, because of the leather and of the goods that go with that. And so, I mean, wait a minute. So if you think you're going to quit eating meat and save all the cows, or that cows are the reason for the greenhouse effect, if you believe that one, oh, Lord have mercy. But anyway, cow farts. People farts, or there are more people than there are cows. So, and if you've ever been by a sewage treatment plant and you want to blame it on the cows, just saying. But the idea, though, that there's going to be meat because we're going to need leather. We're going to need other products that come from cows, not just the meat itself. So anyway, people, well, I'm going to quit eating meat because now, to eat too much meat, I agree. I used to have meat 3 times a day, and I feel better by stretching that out. It also is, how do I say this? It's easier to poop, okay? Because you don't have this great big hunk of meat that hasn't digested all the way. So if you put meat also, and I slice it into smaller chunks, so I get the benefit of the meat versus trying to chew up a great big hunk and then swallowing half of it, that's not going to digest. So I can take a piece of meat and slice it thin, chew it because I have few teeth, but I seem to get more out of it, and it's easier to digest. It's easier on my bowels and my bowel movements. And when you get old, I know folks that are a lot younger than I am that are having bowel issues, and I'm like, if you learned how to regulate your diet, and not overeat and chew your damn food, for God's sakes, you know, that you wouldn't have some of these issues. Man, I went from mask to toilet training, huh? Wow, we can talk about all kinds of stuff here. I mean, give the meat industry back to the local farmers. A lot of local farmers still do that. They have folks down here that you can take a cow or a hog or whatever to and get butchered. And that they have a person on staff that's FHA, no, wait a minute, FDA approved. So, he was killed, the animal was killed properly and drained and all that kind of stuff, and they have to hang them up and blah, blah. Take 54 hours to digest a chunk of meat like that. Chew minimum 24 and save the ovaries and the moths. Yep. What is it treated with? Leather puts fumes out. No, leather doesn't put fumes out. What the leather is treated with will put fumes out. But leather in itself, I mean, my drone is around here somewhere, is leather, and it has no smell to it. Hey, Teresa. Yes, enjoy your food by eating it consciously. Yes. Now, there's one thing. Some of the shamans and folks that I worked with, one of the things is that in the study of pioneers and Davy Crockett and them folk, they could run across a mountain by lunchtime and come back the same day. Trade, Tennessee, and up around Boone, North Carolina, and up in there. And I've been up to Trade. I've played there with a powwow and a big thing. Anyway, when I got to looking, I was like, Daniel Boone used to make it across this mountain by lunchtime and then have lunch, do his trading, and go back to Boone and be there, maybe not necessarily by nightfall, but be there at, that same day. And I'm thinking to myself, these guys didn't stop for water breaks, and they didn't do this and that, and they didn't carry big packs. They had biscuits and some beef jerky. But what it is that when they ate it that this is going to sustain me. This is all I have, but it's going to do me. And when you look at pictures of the old timers, none of them, back in the old days, ain't none of them big, chunky, and fat, mostly. But the idea, though, that how we eat our food, if we eat it consciously, like Maverick suggested, and it is a good idea. I think Maverick said it. Yeah, fasting is good for you every now and again. Yep. And just eating light, like yesterday, I can't really put down my foot as to what I didn't have an entire meal. I had some of the leftover ribs that I cooked, shared them with the dog. He got more than me, actually. I had a little bit of this. I had a banana with some chocolate, and I had a little this and that, and I ate very lightly. And I find that I have fewer stomach issues. I don't have cramps with my stomach anymore. I mean, my stomach, I used to have constant stomach troubles. Rolling, upset, I'd eat, I'd be sitting on the commode and blah, 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 blah. And I used to say, well, it was the stuff that I ate. That's true. But I cook my own food. So, and I use more hot sauce now than I ever have before, because hot things and stuff help, take care of, but, the idea, though, that simply because it's a vegetable, it's automatically healthy, not necessarily true. Just because it's at this doesn't mean it's necessarily true. But if you do eat smaller bites and you do make it easier for your system to digest, you space out the type of foods that you eat and make sure. Now, I got all kinds of vitamins. I know there are people who are not into supplements, but I got my D, my D3, B, selenium, L-lysine, just a whole bunch. So I take at least one of these every other day or so. I don't take the same vitamin. Well, as zinc and magnesium and potassium I do. and B and D. Those are pretty regular, but I've got other vitamins and biotin and CoQ and all that kind of stuff. And if I don't take them for a few days, I feel sluggish. And so, the B12, I need to go take my vitamins when I get done doing this. So, do I believe in them? Up to a point, yes. But we have to understand they're only supplements. If you're living off of vitamins, yet you got to, supplement your diet with the correct amount of vitamins and things. But if you just think that because it's grown, you're good to go, or because it's organic and you're good to go, oh, please, you got to think a little further than that. Just because there's a lot of liars out there. Well, I want to make sure that this is organic. I can get a higher price for it. When in truth, it ain't really organic. So not like you think it is my point. It's all organic. If it's grown, ain't it organic? Well, I mean, it's organic because it doesn't have stuff on it. Well, you know how hard it is to grow something without a bug crawling on it or what? Anyway, enough of this. You all get my point. I love you all. Teresa, Elsie, darling. Hey, guys, I love you so much. Got to run. Yep. I'm heading out of here, too. Scratch, David Castle, Maverick, Teresa. Oh, listen, let me tell you about the Slightly Slanted. Hi, bye, sorry, missed it. Slightly Slanted. Listen, let me tell you about vitamins. Now, this is true, and my dear friend Serge that just passed away last week that I was mourning earlier to this afternoon for this evening, morning, afternoons, anyway. He worked at sewage treatment plants and wastewater, okay? So if somebody was having an issue with getting their water clean or whatever, he would go and check and knew the chemicals and all that kind of stuff. But the first time he told me about this, and then I went to see when I lost my job, I went with him and worked with him on some part-time jobs and some subcontract work. And so we went to this, place in Albany, Georgia. It's a big 150 trailer park, and they've got their own sewer system. And so I look inside this thing, great big 30-foot tanks, right? Several of them. And they're floating on the top are all of the Centrum vitamins and other vitamins too, but Centrum was the main one. Now you say, what, Michelle, and the rest of you? The hard shell on some of these vitamins are so hard they pass right through you. Now, the vitamin still has all the vitamins in it, but because they're so jam-packed full of vitamins, it will upset most folks' stomach, especially if they take it on without having a little bit of food or something. But now here's the trick. If you can have Centrum, but break that puppy open so that your stomach, your stomach juices can get to the edge of the vitamin. I'm telling you, I was the thousands of these vitamins floating on top with the crap, and I've seen it. I've been to many different sewage treatment plants, and they all had them floating along with other things. But if you think if you can't scratch the outside of the vitamin with your finger, and it's so hard, and it looks like it's got a shiny plastic coat on it, it does. Break it in half and then take it. It will be less likely to upset your stomach, but your stomach can get through it because you broke it. If you just take it and think you're getting them vitamins, Lord have mercy. Those people should be sued. I'm telling you. But so I always get vitamins that are flaky and fall apart or gel. It's pretty hard for a gel will dissolve because it's a gel. But if you're taking a multivitamin that's real hard, I'm telling you, watch your poop. And when you see it floating in your own commode and you go, some bitch, she was right. They make it all the way down the sewer pipe and into these big tanks. The vitamin is good as long as you break it. So be careful and be wise. And, most people don't know this kind of stuff. So people are taking multivitamins, but they're not getting any benefit from it. So the people are getting weaker and they take more and they think they're doing. And what the problem is, they're so damn strong, it will upset most people's stomachs for what they have in them. So I get separate. I got a bottle of B, I got a bottle of this, I got a bottle of that. I go do them separately. And usually they're in gels or tablets without hard cores. But multivitamins, be careful, break them in half and then take them. Just to let you know. If you think I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm just telling you. And my friend Serge, you just recently passed away. Hey, guys, how are you? Slightly slanted. They were clogging the filters with pills. Yes. Maverick says there was a treatment plant in some big city, did a video about it. They were clogging the filters with pills. Yes. And ladies, I know, but don't flush your personal things down. Oh my God, do they clog up systems? And when the big system gets clogged up because of all these feminine hygiene products that are floating along with the Centrums, and I mean, whatever they coat them pills with, oh my God, they should use that as for paint protection on vehicles. That stuff is hard as nails. I don't know what they do, but anyway. So, my friends, I didn't mean to take up any more of your time today. I love you all. Thank you for hanging out some more. I've got some chores and things I want to finish up and take the dog back outside. And I haven't had any supper yet. So, but I love you all. And thank you for your support today. Yes, I was sad. And I'll probably have little bouts of sadness about my friend Serge. But, you know, he was the one that turned me on to the thing about the floating vitamins, you know. So, in passing, a little bit of Serge knowledge to all of you, you know. And there was a trick. Now, regular water, you know, just regular tap water, doesn't have the digestive juices and acids that our stomachs do. But if you want to find out whether or not your vitamin's any good, just get a little bit of water and drop your vitamin in the water. And if you come back an hour later and it's getting all gooey and stuff, it's dissolving. You take one of those other vitamins and just drop it in a little water and see if it dissolves. And that should tell you right there. So you can do your own experiment at home. Is this vitamin any good? Drop it in a little bit of water. If it's still there in an hour or two or three or four, break them in half. You can still take them. There are still vitamins in them, but just break them in half. Robert B., thank you so much. DLS, I thought a thought could a prison break them in half and then pour contents into a cup of water to slightly dilute it. If you break them in half and just eat a little bit of food with it, that's all. That's all you got to do is just eat a little food with it. And by breaking them in half, your stomach acid has to go at it from the end. So it's not like the whole thing dissolving all at one time. So it's more like a time released if you break them in half. But if you just eat a little bit of food or take the vitamin with food, you probably won't even know that your stomach's upset. It's when people take their vitamins in the morning with a cup of coffee on the way out the door, that's good. That could upset your stomach. Yes. So, you know, and it used to do the same thing to me. And so in talking and learning, but by living and being around people that have worked in all these different industries and by seeing these things float on top of these great big, you know, 30, 40 foot wide, you know, diameter tanks, by the thousands, these things are just floating around and they don't ever go away. You know, poo and other things will dissolve. But these things are like plastic. It's just amazing. So you got it there. Yodi Ellis, am I even close to that? Groniswato? I try to pronounce names correctly. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. You know, when learning about a 30-year-old long relationship with a true adventurer, you know, I mean, to go down in the swamps and stuff the way we did, you know, and the times we've had and the things we've done and the things we built. And he used to travel with me and did puppet shows. He helped me. We did a rendition of Poe at the local theater, and we had um, black lights and smoke and special effects, and he was great with that sort of thing. And we have wowed a bunch of people with our special effects. So he moved down to the swamps of Florida, and I'm still here. But his memory, his memory will stay alive with me and other folks too, I'm sure. But I sure wished I could have went at least one more time and went canoeing with him. But it is what it is. So, but anyway, I'll remember him, and he'll be with me, and I'm sure I'm with him because we spent too much time together. Some of me had to pass on. Um, Hawkeye, go listen to Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann's Clear Your Head and go for a ride. Oh, I'm good with it, but thank you, David. Devastating blow, shocker. It hits the gut and the heart all at once. Yeah, I was, I literally, when I started that video earlier today, it was like 5 minutes between finding out and doing the video. It was literally like 5 minutes. And so it had really not even sunk in with me yet. But, I was thinking more of playing some Jethro Tull and Thick as a Brick. But anyway, instead of Man for Man. But anyway, I love you all. Have a great evening. And I'll get back with you on the on the meditation thing, okay? And, just remember, it's not all about the helmet, but who's inside the damn thing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Tull rocks. Thank you, Teresa. So have a great evening, y'all. Be safe. Be kind. Wear your mask if it's necessary, and don't be picky about it. But if you're wearing it all the time, take some deep breaths. We need air. So I love you. Thank you. And my prayers always, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, and I do mean this, that you will learn to accept, receive, and share the healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept, receive, and to share the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom of the universe. And as the law of three, I continue to pray that each and every one of you continues with your journey and continue to learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe, and that you continue to share and reject the chaos that comes into your lives. Discern it every day, my friends. Thank you, Maverick, David Castle, Teresa, and Truth in Me, and anybody else I might have missed. I love you all. Thank you. Until next time, TTFN, keep it between the ditches, my friends, and family members, and you lovely soul tribe. Keep up the good work. Cheers.